Well, hey there, staffing people. Normally I've got this video where I talk about the syllabus ready on the first day of class, but I had a scramble to even get the class programmed into GoView the most part, and I still don't have much. I've got a couple of weeks worth, but I'm going to try to stay a couple of weeks ahead of you. You don't know that I am not completely prepared. In the old days, I would have the entire class ready to go before it ever started. I just sit back and watch it happen. But this year I'm going to be programming as we go. And as I said, normally this video is ready before the semester starts, so it's there on day one. It's out there on Friday of week one, and before you really need it, because not a lot happens until next week. If you haven't already printed this syllabus, please do so now. You might want to make some notes as I give you details. If you've already looked at it, you may understand it. No problem. On the first page here, notice there is my cell phone. A lot of you have had me before. You've already got my cell phone. Remember that I don't have yours. So if you want to text me, you've got to say this is Melinda from staffing, so that I can put on my staffing hat and answer your question. Even if you text me today and then text me on Monday you're going to have to say this is Melinda from staffing again, because I don't save your phone numbers. I keep my phone list relatively small compared to most people. It's just more my frequent numbers than just everybody that I've met. So always tell me who you are, and we'll be fine. You can call me, you can text me. I don't have my phone with me when I'm in the classroom. If I happen to be in a meeting, I have my phone, but it's on silent. If I'm in church or something, I have my phone sometimes, not other times, but it's on silent. And at night, it is nowhere near me. So don't try to get me to respond between about 11:30 at night and 6:30 in the morning. I'll see it in the morning when I wake up. I'm in my office from 8:15 to about 2 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday. You can call me on my office phone number. You can catch me through cell. I say except for class times, I've only got one on-campus class, and that is Tuesday and Thursday from 11 until 12:15. So you can generally get me in my office on my phone those other days. What is this class all about? It's about how to create and read for understanding a job description that accurately reflects what the job does and what somebody needs to be able to do that job, and then to use that information as a manager to create an interview where you can find the best possible person. This is a really, really significant class for anybody who's ever going to have to do interviewing. A lot of people who have done interviewing all their life, all their adult life, career life, take this class and go, man, I learned some stuff here. We do this wrong. There's a reason why we've got high turnover, because we do interviewing wrong. If we did interviewing right according to the structure that you give us here, we'd hire great people. And as long as we could keep them, we wouldn't have to do this process over and over again. Looking at the objectives here, we've talked about the job description. Figure out where you need to go for the best luck in finding people who will be good quality. Those are the sources that you can recruit from. If you want to hire an accountant, you go to the accounting club on college, or you go to the Academy of Accountants or the CPA Society or whatever. You wouldn't want to go to, the open house at Best Buy's if you're looking for an accountant, because you might not find the people that have accounting skills there. So the sources that you go to are incredibly important. Developing the right questions, we will learn, can help you get the information that you need to find the subtle distinctions between two applicants for a job, but they can also keep you out of trouble because you know not to ask this question. And you know what? Everybody asks this question, not knowing that it can get you in a lot of problems, a lot of trouble for asking this question. So determine how to create questions that get you the information that you need to say, this candidate is a little better than that one, and here's why I can justify it. Then design a tool. Usually we use Excel, where we create a little chart, a little grid of the things we're looking for and how we're going to score it, so that we can make distinctions between our candidates. We call that a hiring matrix in this class. Then actually interview people. The communications class may have been structured when you took communications, where you had to do interviews with the staffing people. You're on the other end of that now. If you happen to take it in the summer, or if you happen to take it in the spring as communications, we don't have this class, so you didn't go through this part. But you're actually going to create a job, and then the communications students are going to look at a bunch of jobs and say, I want to interview for this one. and you will interview them via video for 3 or 4 of them. You'll interview like I'm doing right now, talking to a camera, but I'll be looking at you, the candidate, on the screen, and you'll be looking at me, and we'll do an interview over the video. And then finally, you're going to learn how to communicate effectively. One of the frustrations that a lot of you have when you apply for jobs is you send in your resume and you don't hear anything for 3 weeks. I don't even know if they got the thing. Or you go in for an interview and then 2 weeks later you still haven't heard anything. We've got to learn how to communicate effectively throughout the process. Over communication is better than no communication. So even if it's just every couple of days, hey, don't give up on us. We're still in our process. We're still making decisions. We hope to hear by the 13th. On the 10th, still looking at maybe the 13th. Maybe on the 12th, you say, we've had to delay it a little bit. We're looking at the 16th. But the more you hear, the more you think, these people are organized. These people are with it. I think I'd really like to work here. One textbook, it is Strategic Staffing, the 5th edition. They've recently gone from 4th to 5th. I don't think there's a huge amount of difference between 4th and 5th, but page numbers may be off. And if I point you to certain pages for reading, and you've got the 4th edition, I think the 4th edition was a white cover. The 5th edition is this blue cover. It's not super incredibly expensive. It is more expensive than we would like it to be, but the bad news is that while it may be 60 or 70 or whatever dollars, the good news is that when we were using the 2nd edition, it was with a different publisher, and it was like 180. So we've cut the thing well over in half, but it's still a little bit high, but hopefully not too bad. You also need Microsoft Word, you need Microsoft Excel to create your questions, to create your job descriptions, to create your hiring matrices. You need a bundle of 3 Proctor exam codes, and you got to have a great video camera so that you can talk to somebody just like I'm talking to you. As we move through this, enrollment verification, you've got to complete the check-in quiz. The highlights of that for me are your cell phone number and a Yahoo Gmail type email address. If you go silent in the class for a week, I may shoot you a text and say, is everything okay? If I can't get an answer on your text, then I might send you an email to your Yahoo account. I assume you guys check that thing very frequently. I won't use this unless I haven't heard from you in a while and I'm worried. So if you get a text from me, consider it a good thing because I'm concerned. The course overview, no matter where you are, probably at some point you're going to have to interview somebody. And as I note here, it's one of the least coached management skills out there. Probably if you interview a candidate and 3 other people interview that candidate, you're going to come to a better hiring decision than they will because you're going to know how to do it and they're not. You're not going to ask the questions that they're going to throw up the red flag and say, that's illegal, that's discriminatory, whatever. Course requirements, you see that things are weighted. The highest thing is the actual interviews you're going to do, that's 30%. But your job description and your hiring matrix and your questions all combine for 40%. So 70% of the class is the actual meat of the interviewing process. Exams aren't a tremendous amount of weight. There's a lot of points involved, but it's only 15% of the total grade. So don't freak out too much if you don't do as well on the exams, because if you do well on the interviews, a good set of interviews is the equivalent of 2 tests. So if you bomb something, bomb a quiz or bomb a test, don't bomb an interview. We'll talk about these things individually here. We already talked about verification activities, the check-in quiz and the hello video. On the hello video, just 2 minutes. You may have already done it by the time you're watching this, but I just want you to tell me your name. I'm Mark. I'm in my 4th year of school. I hope to graduate by December of 24. I live in Tallahassee, Florida, and something interesting about me is blah, blah, blah. I need 2 minutes, not a whole lot. And then comment on a few folks, give some folks some encouragement. You've got to do the check-in quiz and the hello video in order to be counted as present. If you do the check-in quiz but not the video, I will, hear this, I will tell the registrar you're not participating fully and you will be dropped. If you do the video but not the quiz, you will be dropped. Do them both. Get them both done by Monday night. All right, chapter quizzes. There are 10 chapter quizzes. As you look at the last page of the syllabus, there are some chapters 4 and 5, I think 9, 6, where we break up the chapter into 3 pieces so that it's a small chunk. instead of the whole chapter all at once, and we can really focus on a couple of key ideas within that chunk. The quiz will be over chapter 6, but you won't have access to the quiz until whatever week that third part of chapter 6 is covered. So if chapters 6A and 6B are 1 week and chapter 6C is the next week, the quiz will be open the entire week that 6C is available. You have to be able to look at all 3 pieces before you can take the quiz. All right, each one of those is 10 points. They're not all 10 questions. Sometimes there's a question worth 2 points, and it may be a check B for this answer. It's not designed to trip you up. It's designed to reinforce some key ideas that you're going to see on exams. The job description, we're going to have a lot more information about that. I'll have a video just for that to tell you how to do it. I've got a template that I want you to use that has all the headings. You just got to figure out the wording in those particular settings. And then, like I said, there'll be a video that talks you through the whole thing. If you watch the video, you use the template, you address the things I ask you to address, you should do really well on that. You're going to submit a job description, and I'm going to give you feedback on it, and you're going to submit a second draft. You're going to work with a partner too on the job description. You and one other person are both going to have the job description like cashier. And I want you to work together. And we're going to use Teams, Microsoft Teams, to do that. One of you is going to take the template, load it out there in your little private channel. You're going to talk to each other through that private channel chat, and you're going to edit that job description together so that you both have the same job description. That's important to me. You're going to get individual grades on it, but you should get the same grade as the other person does because you're both submitting the same file. After the job description, you're on your own, but you work together for the job description. All right. The interview tools consists of the questions you're going to ask. Again, I'll have a video that specifically deals with questions, how to do it, how many do you need, what style, what do you focus on, all that stuff we'll cover when we get there. But the interview tools consist of the questions and then the hiring matrix. What are you thinking about when you're trying to make a decision? The grading for that is like, do you have all of the things that are important? Does the resume matter? Does the cover letter matter? Does what they wore on the interview matter? To what degree does the contents of the resume matter? Does what they say on question 1 matter more than what they say on question 7? Whatever. What things are you thinking about? All right, the interviews, you'll do 4 of them during the course of a week. I'll have another video that's just about the questions. I'll have a video that's just about the matrix. I'll have a video that's just about the interviews. And I'll set this up to where if you do what I tell you in the video, you'll do really, really well. The problem most semesters is that people don't watch the videos. And then they don't do what I've asked them to do, what I'm expecting them to do. Watch the video, make notes, do it the way that I lay it out for you, and you'll have a great experience and you'll get a good grade. The exams, 3 of them, they all use ProctorU. The last one is the final. There are some multiple choice and some not matching, but true-false questions. But there are also a series of short answer. And I'm going to try the very best I can to help you understand, excuse me, what you need to know to do those short answer paragraph types of things. In fact, I'm going to have a study guide where you'll have a little section that says, in class we talked about this and I used this example in one of my videos. You're going to have to be able to do this. And I won't tell you exactly what the answer is, but I'm going to really pin you in on what you need to look at to prepare for this. All right, so I'm going to try the best I can to help you get through these tests in good shape. All right, we're going to weight these things. Over the course of 10 quizzes, you made 92 points. That's 0.92 times 10%. That's going to contribute 9.2 out of the overall 100 points for the grade. The interview tools, you're going to get, you've gotten 185 out of 200 points. That's, 0.92 or whatever it is, times 20%. You got 18.4 points towards that 100. So we'll kind of work through the scoring, the mathematics of your grade, and you can see where you need to focus on things. As we roll through this, we've talked about most of it. Quizzes are open the entire week from Sunday to Sunday of the week where the final piece of the information is, and we talked about that earlier. I hope you can visualize it. There's an example here about Chapter 4, and I gave you an example about Chapter 6. 10 points apiece. The job description, 100 points. There's a rubric. I'm looking for specific things. Did you do those things that I asked you to do? Interview tools, the questions that you produce, the matrix, that's very subjective. How do I feel overall about the quality that you've done, the completeness of what you've done, where the job description itself has very specific things. Did you deal with all of these pieces? Did you leave a piece out? That kind of stuff. The interview tools is, how do I feel about the likelihood you're going to have a good experience using these tools you created. Interviews, again, there'll be a video with a PowerPoint where I kind of talk through the scoring of that and the process you ought to go through. Some of the grading from the interviews is that each of your 4 candidates is going to fill out a survey that they're going to send to me, and they're going to rate you on a scale from 1 to 5 on a number of things, and your grade is largely influenced by how well they said you did. But there's no reason why they should score you poorly if you take this seriously and you approach it the way that you ought to approach it. Exams we've talked about. Here are the days and the things that we're covering. Notice that we're not taking the book from cover to cover. We're jumping around in that book. And we're going to test based upon the information we need to know to do the job description when we need for it to be done, to do the questions for when they need to be done, to do the interviews for when they need to be done. ProctorU Windows, you have to make an appointment. All 3 of them should be available for you to make appointments within the next week if they're not out there already as I film this. The 11 p.m. Closing is the closing in GoView. The last appointment that ProctorU will make is probably about 2 hours before that, because you have 75 minutes for the test. So 11 backs up to 9:45. You have to start by 9:45 to finish by 11 when the window closes, but you have to have 30 minutes of proving who you are and whatever. So from 9:45 back to 9:15, the last appointment might be 9:15, even though it says here and it looks in GoView that it's open until 11. In order to finish by 11, last appointment is probably about 9:15 or so. Notice that they're open for 4 days, either Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or something like that. You have to use ProctorU. Here's to get the grade that you want. The standards, code of conduct, no discussion boards or things, but please don't call me and immediately launch into a tirade about the grade on your last exam. Please know that I'm very, very easy to work with. I'm very willing to work with you. I'm very willing to address things that I've done that aren't fair. But I need you to be calm and respectful as you say, I think the answer to this was wrong, or I think that you didn't give me near enough credit for what I put on this essay. And I'll talk with you about it. And I may hold fast to what a decision I made, or I might say, you got a point there. But if you kind of feel like if I kind of feel like you're being hostile, or you're trying to push me into something, I'm gonna do what most people do, and I'm gonna begin to push you back. And ultimately, unfortunately, my pushing is bigger than your pushing. And respect goes both ways. I'm gonna respect you, you respect me. Let's see here. Missed work, things are due generally on Sunday night. And notice that there are due dates, there are end dates. A due date means that's when I want it with full credit. The end date is generally, if the due date is a Sunday, I set up the end date as a Monday. That means that if there's an assignment due through a Dropbox, it should be in by Sunday. But you can still submit it on Monday. It'll flag to me as being late, and you'll lose a little bit of credit. But you can still submit the Dropbox on Monday. On Monday, it ends and the Dropbox closes. And if you want to submit it to me on Tuesday or Wednesday, you have to email it to me. And then you're going to lose more credit. But keep an eye on those due dates. Give somebody my phone number. If heaven forbid you're in a car wreck or something and you're in the hospital and you can't get to a laptop or whatever to notify me, you can say, you've got Dr. Grimes' number, please send him a text for me, right? So they can contact me if something goes horribly wrong. All right. Last little bit here, don't cheat. If you disability, therapy services, blah, blah, blah. Here's the calendar. Here's what we're doing in class. Notice that Chapter 1 all itself, but it's not the whole chapter. Chapter 7, both of those are going to be happening next week. It's not the whole chapter there either. Quiz 1 is over Chapter 7. You're going to tell me by the end of next week who you'd like your partner to be working on the job descriptions, and you'll tell me from a list what 3 jobs you think you'd have the most interest in trying to develop. The next week we're covering part of Chapter 4, parts A and B, but part C doesn't happen until the next week. So the quiz is available the week when Part 4C is available. All right, in week number 3, you're going to look at this week on your calendar, the 6th through the 12th, Sunday through Saturday, and you're going to tell me 4 times that you're willing to have an interview with somebody. So I'm going to have an interview at 6 p.m. on Monday and 8 p.m. on Tuesday and noon on Saturday, but 4 times that you're willing to block off on your calendar where you can do an interview for people during that 1 week. I need to know those times by August the 28th. It goes on through here. Here's when the quizzes are. They close. They're due on Sunday of the next week. So quiz 3 will open on the 11th. It's not due until the 18th, and it's not ended until the 19th. The job description, version 1, I'm going to give you feedback on, but it's due on the 11th. The revisions to that are due on the 25th. We start talking about the questions and the hiring matrix. The questions are due on the 2nd. The hiring matrix is due on the 23rd, so you got time to work on those things. Here's the dates of the exams, when they open, when they close during that week. The interviews are, as it notes, the 5 asterisks are here. The interviews are going to be that week. You've got the entire week after that to kind of let things wind down before you have Thanksgiving break, and then you have part of Chapter 2 and a quiz and the final exam, and we're done. All right, I'm going to share my screen also with teams, because you're going to work in teams for part of this, and I want to be able to show you real quick what that looks like. You should, by the fact that you're enrolled in the class, you should have already gotten an email through your Radar account that gives you access to this Teams. You click on that, it's going to take you into our HR staffing class, and the general tab here is where I've asked you to come in and start telling me that you've gotten access to this, and you can see that as of today, a number of people have, but there's still a lot of people who have not. Once you start picking your partner, and again, we're probably going to have like 18 different jobs that are done by 2 people each. So you and Susie are going to work on a particular job. You know right now that you and Susie are doing it. You don't know which job yet. Y'all are going to send me an email and say that, hey, Dr. Grimes, this is Benjamin, and Susie and I are going to work together on a team. I'll come in here and I'll create a channel that is only viewable by Benjamin and Susie. Once that channel is created, since we don't have channels showing up yet, I'm going to have to show you in my master's degree business ethics class. Here they're working in groups of 5 for things. So Team A consists of these people, Dover and Harney and Kimbrell and 2 other people. Nobody else in the class except for these 5 people can see this channel. So they can talk to each other in this channel, and I can see what's in this channel, but nobody else can see it. This is where I want you and your partner to talk about your job description. Don't do this on GroupMe. Don't do this through any other technology except for Teams. Why? Because every now and then we have a team member who goes absent, and the other partner does the bulk of the work. And if that's the case, Benjamin needs to be posting out here for Susie with no response. And I can come out here and say, I can see where Benjamin's tried 15 times over the last week and a half to get in touch with her, and she's not responded to any of it. So I've got justification that Susie doesn't need full credit for this. So have your communications within your team channel, but first thing you're going to want to do is come in your team channel and go to Files and upload the template that will show up here as a file that you can click on. Let me go back to our team and show you from the general. If I go to Files in our general team board here, you can see where I have posted the syllabus that you can click on and have the ability to view. It's taken a second to do that. I don't have much time here. There's the syllabus. I've also created in my files here an Excel sheet that lists all of the people, and we'll be able to say, okay, maybe Barnett and Greer are going to be team 1. So we're going to end up with an X there and an X there, and we can keep track of who's on what team that way. You can go in here and put the X for you and your partner and just tell me you did it, or you can email me and say, this person and I want to be a team, and we can start creating these things as we go. But when you get your team put together, you're going to want to open your channel, and you're going to want to go to Files, and one of you is going to want to load that template that I'm going to give you in the content on the week that we start working on the job descriptions. And then the two of you can go in here on your own time at your own pace and start keying in stuff. And you can go in there and edit each other's work. But you'll have a workable document that both of you can look at any point in time. I can come in here and kind of glance at what you're doing and make some comments for you. And then when it's done, one of you takes it and downloads it, saves it to a file, and posts it to the discussion, to the Dropbox. All right. Hopefully that gives you a quick overview of how we want to use the Teams thing. We're at, goodness gracious, 25 minutes. Hopefully you've gotten everything that you want to know addressed through this video. You don't have any questions about the grading, on what we're doing, the different pieces of it. You kind of have an idea of how to use Teams and why I'm trying to stress early on that you get into that and you start learning how to use it, because we're really kind of being encouraged in the College of Business and Computing to use Teams a lot. You may start seeing that in a lot of classes in the future, especially when you have group work. So get to use it now, get to know it now. That's it for now. If you have questions, go to Ask Dr. Grimes on the discussion board, or send me a text or an email or something, and we'll get you straight. But hopefully you feel good about class, you know what you got to do to get your A, you're excited about what you're going to learn, and you're ready for a good semester. And that is it for now.